Hi friends, it's Deanna Williston with Our Blooming Catholic Life, and this is our Lenten special. Basically, I'm breaking down a whole number of research that I've done. I'm going to include some of the videos and possibly books in the description below, so be sure to check them out if you want more information. It's basically how to do Lent for you. Now, of course, if you have a spiritual director, you might want to run any of this by them. Again, run it by a spouse. If you're going to completely change your diet for Lent, you may want to run that by your spouse. Whether you're the person making the meals or the person eating the meals, it's going to be important for your spouse to know about this. As well, if you have any health conditions, run any of this by a physician. This is not meant to be medical advice here. This is just some thoughts on how to come up with a plan. Still running the plan by other people, but how to come up with a plan. So the first one was, I've been watching these Clutter Bug videos. So it's someone who literally helps you declutter and organize your house. So she was actually talking about coming up with a way to do that, but I totally saw it for Lent. She said to consider it like a puzzle piece. When you put a puzzle together, are you the person who tries to do something in the middle first, like, oh, I see this bit over here, and then, oh, I see this bit over there? That doesn't work for most of us. And that's the way it is with spiritual practices as well. You get like, oh, this book over here, this is going to be it. Oh no, then I'm going to start this book and never finish. Then I'm going to start this book and never finish. Oh, what about this book? They're all good books, but doing them all at the same time, I think we've all done it at one time or another. We know I did it last year. It was too much. It was too scattered. Even though I had a plan to do them all and I thought they all went together, I was just jumping around and not really committing to any of them. And that really didn't work. And I think a huge part of that problem was it was all doing books. It was programs, not progress. Programs may lead you to progress. It may not be your best choice for Lent unless you really need the discipline. You know, I've added this, and not really for Lent. This isn't my first time through this, so this isn't completely new. Well, I've done the Father Michael Gately consecration. I've seen some of these prayers before. I've read the gospel before, so not all of it's completely new. So this one, I think, is a little bit different, and it's got a day-by-day thing. Love that part of it. But I'm not just doing that, and I've already done the consecration, so this is renewing it. So even if I don't do it perfectly, it's okay. But I am normally, I don't know about you, I'm a person who, when they do a puzzle, I do look for edges and corners. And think of corners, when we're talking about a religious life, as your cornerstone. So what are the basics of your faith life? It could be Mass on Sunday, once monthly confession. Maybe you do morning and evening prayers, another corner. What are the corners? Do you do a daily rosary? They could be your 4 corners. Come up with the 4 things that are most essential and most helpful to your spiritual life. Figure out what they are and then work out from each of those. And you're going to be connecting them. That's an important part, is making the connections, because you don't want to just be doing little pockets of things here and there, because they don't all flourish. They all go out and they may never quite reach each other by the end of the 40 days, and you really want them to connect. So what I really want you to do this Lent is do the corners and the edges, and you can fill in the middle during the rest of the year. But let's work on the corners and those edges. So if you're already going to Mass, if you're an Easter and Christmas only Christian and you're watching this, maybe add 1 Sunday a month. Or maybe try adding in, you could do some online masses. Maybe you can do a daily Mass once a week. Maybe there's a day that you don't work and you could go to a daily Mass. If you do confession once a month, and you're maybe do that then on the first Saturday. And maybe you could add in some first Saturday devotions. Or add it so it's every other week. So twice a month. So you're going to expand out a little bit. So you're already going once a month. That's your corner. Add somebody over here. So what's that going to look like? In the case of confession, yes, you may add another one, and add in that you absolutely go also Good Friday. I don't know if Good Friday, if they have confession, but you know what I mean? Holy Thursday, go right before Easter, add that in. And then you're going to work from there. So if the rosary is a corner piece for you, what are you going to add? Okay, you're already doing a daily rosary. Could you add a Divine Mercy Chaplet once a week? Could you add a Franciscan Crown Rosary once a week? You're going to expand them. Maybe you do the basic rosary. You just do the legit prayers. So maybe you want to add scripture to it. You could add some scriptural readings. Maybe add 15 minutes at the end for meditation. Maybe for you, it's going to look like adding intentions to your rosary if that's not a practice that you've ever done before. Maybe you're going to add saying just the rosary every day, but dedicating it to one particular person. Or you could dedicate, a lot of people do this, each decade goes to a different person or a different prayer request. If you spend time on Catholic Twitter, I like to, if I hear a prayer request, I keep a Post-it note by where I'm normally on Twitter before I go to bed. So I keep a Post-it note there and I write down any prayer requests that I see, and then I add that to my morning and evening prayer. So you're going to be upping your game. Now, some of the things you may just do for Lent, and that's okay. We're not saying it has to become a habit, but after 40 days, it may have become a habit and something you want to include to really fill in that picture. Let's see here. If you already, a lot of people fast on Fridays in Lent, but if you already fast on Fridays, that's not going to be anything big for you. So add Wednesdays. If you already fast and abstain on Fridays and Wednesdays, add Monday. You're going to figure this out. Just add a little bit more each time. Let's see here. What else do we have? I did want to say there are plenty of good choices, but there's not one perfect option. Of course, you want to add in here, make sure that you're keeping a joyful and grateful attitude. You don't want to be that sackcloth and ashes, doomy, gloomy person. Nobody likes that person. You really want to be showing people that you're growing in your life and it's bearing fruit. Don't forget to show that part. Sometimes you can get so caught up in the I'm hungry bit, you forget the end goal of heaven. Don't take your eyes off the prize, friends. It is Jesus. Remember why you're doing it. And maybe you just need a couple minutes every day to reflect on that. Maybe add in a Stations of the Cross. You could just do one station. If you don't have a lot of time, add in the stations. Some great ways to do it. A lot of people are using the Halo app, but there's Rosary Deluxe. I love that. That was put out by Rosary Army. It's a great scriptural rosary, and I can pause it whenever I want. So I can just listen to one mystery of the rosary. Or it exists for Stations of the Cross. Divine Mercy Chaplet had one out years ago. It was the Divine Mercy Chaplet with the Stations of the Cross. And again, I can just listen to one and meditate on that one. You could do it in a quick ride, a quick walk around the block. If you only have a few minutes, you can add these practices in. All these great things like this generosity habit, that sounds great. If you've got a priest telling you, don't give up meat, give up grumbling, give up jealousy. That sounds nice. It's a platitude. Let's be real. I like that Dr. Taylor Marshall said, add good things, but don't let it be a 21st century excuse. Absolutely. There is no reason that you can't give up grumbling and meat. Now you're saying, but I'm a person who has a high metabolism, or I'm an athlete, or I'm a blue collar worker. I can't give up that. You're going to figure out what works for you. Again, in the beginning said, talk to your doctor. I really liked Dr. Taylor Marshall as well as High Intensity Health in their videos about fasting mention electrolytes. You can get electrolytes now as Pedialyte. You can drink Gatorade. There's more higher level ones, as well as, I think Dr. Taylor Marshall mentioned one that's a pill. I always gag on any of those electrolyte drinks, so they aren't the best option for me. But perhaps I could take the pill. I'm interested in looking at that. But he mentions that the ancients actually increased their salt intake during Lent because they knew the electrolytes were important. Now, if you're someone who has Meniere's or a disease where you can't, high blood pressure, you can't increase your salt, again, discuss that with your doctor. It's okay. And if you're concerned about, so much fasting, you're like, you're such a trad. No, go to Thomas Aquinas, look at the Summa Theologica. It's in the second part of the second part, the Secunda Secundae. Question 147 has all about fasting, probably way more details than you want to know. There was another great video. If you're like, okay, Deanna, this is going too far. There was a great video by the Counsel of Trent, Counsel, Counsel, Counsel of Trent. You'll see it. It's Trent Horn. The video is called "Can You Be Too Religious?" And he was talking with Father Gregory Prine about, that pious weirdo at your church, and the one who always says they're going to help you do something, and then they're like, oh, well, I couldn't show up because the Spirit told me to go to adoration. Going to adoration is a great thing, but don't forget, let your yes mean yes and your no mean no. Don't be that weirdo who is always using it as an excuse. It's great if you're a mystic, then don't commit to helping me do chores on Friday. If you can't do it, don't commit. Or say, hey, I just don't know. The Spirit may move me. I can't really commit. Be honest about it. Don't be a weirdo. I'm already pretty weird. Most Franciscans are pretty weird. But you don't want to be that weird, pious weirdo that actually turns people off from the church, not that gets people excited about the church. And we all know. We've all been that person probably, and we've all seen that person. So while you're adding these practices in, don't be so dramatic about it. We all know that person who's always going, oh, what are you giving up for Lent? And possibly because they want to share what they're giving up for Lent because it's really awesome. Or they just have this weird, I've seen some Protestants get some weird curiosities about it. And then I'm like, no, because why do you want to know? Are you here to help me, keep me accountable? Are you going to help me keep it? Or are you just being weird? Don't be the weirdo. I loved all these topics. I think that these videos all went together. I hope this helps you. And if you're thinking, well, I can't do a lot of these because I'm homebound, I have medical issues. Hey, increase your online streaming adoration. If that's all you can do, that's all you can do. It's okay. Add that in. Again, this is why you're going to talk to a spiritual director and you're going to brainstorm things that work for you. Add an online mass that's in another country. Spend some adoration. If you go to adoration and you don't normally do a devotional, add maybe the rosary to your time in adoration. Pick a meditation. Scott Hahn has that great book on Lectio Divina. If you've never done Lectio Divina, it's praying with the scriptures, and that could be a great option if you're already reading the scripture every day, but you're just kind of reading it. I've done my reading for the day. Shut the book. Maybe you want to add in some Lectio Divina. It's a 4, depending on who you talk to, 5-step process of meditating on the scriptures. I've got a couple videos on that as well. So I hope this helps you come up with a plan for Lent. It is so easy to just be like, oh, this is the best Lent ever. I'm going to do this program. It's so easy to pick up that book. But the reason why we don't stick to it, friends, is because it's not for us. Pick something that is going to work for you, that's going to expand you a little bit, that's going to challenge you to grow a little bit. And yes, we've talked about fasting, and fasting is one of those keys that's going to help you grow a little bit. You're going to be denying yourself in one way so that you're increasing your willpower so that you can do more penances, do more devotionals. If you say there aren't enough hours of the day, maybe try fasting. Maybe that's where you need to focus sometime. If you're like, oh, I can't do anything, maybe look at the fasting. And what does that look like for you? Does it mean I don't eat until a certain time of the day? So like the intermittent fasting. Is it I'm going to cut out all eggs this year? I'm going to cut out all fish this year. Look at what that looks like for you. Fasting has immense benefits besides health benefits. We all know there's health benefits, but for your spiritual life, it not only strengthens your will, your New Year's resolutions can do that. Fasting for Christ, uniting yourself to the cross. Don't forget that that's what it's about. Denying your flesh, uniting yourself to the cross, beating down that concupiscence. And there are spiritual benefits. Yeah, it can make you a better person. It's not the point. Uniting your suffering to the cross. And we all know the Pope has called for a day of prayer and fasting on Ash Wednesday. I'm encouraging you not to wait until then. Go ahead. Do it this Saturday. Do it Monday. Do it Tuesday. Do it multiple days. You're adding on to your Lent. Big whoop. There's a war going on. There's a war going on. Ugh. And it's a big deal. I mean, everybody's talking about Fatima. Everybody's talking about so many things. When something, this can be your go-to thing. It doesn't just have to be in Lent. These are practices that you can incorporate anytime you see your spiritual life floundering a little bit or you see a great need in the world. Offer that day up. Do the prayer, fasting, almsgiving. Add some of these devotionals in for your prayers. You're going to give yourself a tool bag for the rest of the year when your spiritual life needs a little jumpstart. God bless you, friends. I hope that you have a fruitful Lent. Grow closer to the Lord as you unite yourself to Him in your suffering. God bless you, friends.